Musician Tailors, Twin and Chevie.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the Tailors Talk Podcast, live here at Grinding Entertainment Studio, home of Musician Tailor LLC. I'm your co-host, Chevie Revis, along with my co-host and co-founder, Darrell Twin Smith.
What's up, y'all?
Today's special guest is a legendary engineer, producer, writer, businessman, and owner and operator of the world-famous Mudnoc Studio. Early in his career, he started off as an artist, producer, where he was a member of the COM unit and earned a record deal with Purpose Records. He's an alumni of the Atlanta Art Institute, where he studied music business and management, and in 2002, he created and built Mudnoc Recording Studio. He's worked with iconic and legendary acts like MC Breed, Kilo Ali, Killer Mike, Bone Crusher, Yin Yang Twin, Diamonds of Crime Mob, Kia, Young Dro, Napa Roots, and Phil Mob, just to name a few. Please help us welcome to the show, hailing all the way from 502 Louisville, Kentucky, the home of the GOAT, Muhammad Ali, and Static Major, and the Kentucky Derby, our brother, our friend, and ally, the legendary himself, Mr. Mudnoc. Thank you. Yes,
What's
sir.
up, man?
I'm chilling. Y'all doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Man, it's definitely a pleasure to have you here. When I say it's a pleasure because a lot of folks do know when I went to SAE, I did my internship at your studio. Man, I definitely appreciate that.
And that was through
opportunity.
Mike,
Yeah, through
Yeah.
Mike.
through Snotty. He was always a welcome presence in my studio.
I definitely appreciate the opportunity. I learned a lot. Y'all had me cleaning up a lot. I learned a lot.
I didn't. I didn't make you clean.
No, I just felt I had to come in there and clean.
Nah, I feel you.
It was this one female artist that used to come in there. I thought she worked there. I always seen her in there. So one day I just said, man, let me go ahead and clean up this bathroom. So that day I went in there and did it like I was spring cleaning. And she was just standing there looking at me. Then when I came out, she was like, I appreciate that. She said, I appreciate you cleaning up this bathroom for me. And end up, she was one of the artists Mike was working with.
Oh, okay. I had a bunch of people. See, I never wanted to treat anybody that, because that's how most of the studios did. If you're an intern, you're just doing all the dirty work. Like, no, if you're going to be an intern, I want you to sit and learn and in hopes that one day you can sit in the seat. I get it paying your dues, but I didn't want people taking out the trash. In the same breath, I had to do all that, but it's my business. So, but nah, I had plenty of people that felt like they needed to earn their dues like that, and to me, that's not the right way to do an internship.
Yeah, I recorded a couple of artists. When I come in the morning time, usually I was the only one intern there in the morning time. So I can't think of that cat name. He was from Augusta.
Vic?
Yeah, Vic. One day Vic was like, hey man, I need an engineer.
Oh, okay.
So he had me in there recording. But man, like I said, it's a pleasure and that y'all gave me that opportunity. And I would like to say, man, it's heartfelt, and I definitely appreciate that. I didn't come in there mad, cleaning up, all that. The only thing I would say, and LS Lane said it was probably me, because if I come in the morning, I come in there like, man, who done dumped all these guts on the floor?
That's what, man, like, see, I'm a neat freak. I felt like anytime people used to come into the studio, just like a hotel room, it needs to be clean. And so my wife, she would get upset because sometimes we have sessions going to 3 or 4 in the morning, and I feel the need to stay up to when they leave. I need to go in there and vacuum. I need to, just wipe down. So when the next session comes in, it's supposed to be clean.
Yeah.
But I had 3 rooms, so it's hard to keep up. I mean, over there, business was booming for many years, and I don't want to say it was a one-man show, but I was the only responsible person, or a person that I felt like cared, but it was my baby, so I wanted people to Always walk into a fresh, clean room. Um, a lot of rules got broken, meaning, and to me, this isn't hard. Like, I had 2 rules: don't put any drinks on the equipment and don't smoke in the booth. But every time I go in there, you've got ashes on the floor in the booth. But like some of the mics are expensive, so
Yeah.
so that used to piss me off. But yeah, I used to try to keep it clean, but couldn't do it 24/7.
No, when I was in there, it was clean. I definitely, like I said, I appreciate you, but it's like with all your knowledge and everything you done, how did you start off in music?
Um, like most people, I started off a fan of just music. Way before, I won't say before hip hop because I guess it was around. I wasn't exposed to hip hop until like the first song I remember was like Just Bugging. It was this right around the Houdini, LL. So we're talking about 84, 85. But before that, it was just I was born in 75. So my mom's white, my father's black. There was a lot of church music being played. I remember when I was a kid, the song Elvira. You remember that song?
Yeah.
I used to love that song. Another One Bites the Dust. I just used to love music, but whenever I was exposed to hip hop, that was just a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's about the same era. The first, it was Rapping Duke.
Yeah, Rapping Duke. That was my joint.
Rapping Duke. Then when I heard, who was it? I was in elementary school when I heard Run DMC, and then Run DMC, LL Cool J. After that, it took off.
Sugar Hill.
Yeah. Now I heard the Sugar Hill, but I didn't know what it was because because my mom, they always played the blues and Anita Baker and the Whispers and all that stuff. So it was like when in Mississippi, everywhere you go, you gonna hear the blues.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, the blues. I said, oh man, it making me sad. And then R&B was okay, but when the first rap song I heard, I was hooked.
Yeah,
I was
too.
a rap junkie for a long time. But like, listen to R&B. I said, I don't listen to that.
That was my sister. My sister's 4 years older than me, so she was listening to all the R&B and pop music. But now hip hop, like I said, like Sugar Hill Gang, that was a little bit before my time. But around 84, 85 is when I'm what 9, 10 years old, so that's when I really started to get into it. And Houdini, LL.
Kumo D.
Oh no, I wasn't a big fan of Kumo D, but
man.
because I always felt like even at that time, it was kind of old school. His flow. So there was we're many years removed, but there was a difference between an LL type flow and a Kumo D. But now those were the years that I really started to fall in love with
Fresh,
it.
Dana Dane.
Yeah.
So it was
Slick
like,
Rick.
yeah.
I was never a Slick Rick fan.
Yeah,
I know that's blasphemy, but
Oh man, he a storyteller.
I know.
I enjoyed that. He'll take you down. He make you think. I'm like, okay.
no, I give him to it, but I never was much of a fan of his. But no, I don't take. I'm one of those people that can recognize the genius in something, but don't have to say that I'm a huge fan of it.
Okay.
Like I was never a big Prince fan. That's blasphemy. Prince wasn't my thing, but I recognize his genius. So
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah. Prince, I don't know. It was like I was more Mike now. Morris Day. In the times, I felt their music, but I know him and Prince was writing songs together.
Yeah.
So I was like, for some reason, it was. I think Alphabet Street was the first song I really said, okay, I mess with Prince.
Oh, okay. He had a couple of joints. It just wasn't. If it came to Michael or Prince, I was Mike.
Yeah. So man, then so when you fell in love with hip hop, so you start off as an MC or a producer.
Definitely an MC. And it's funny because I think it's more of a poetry thing that I was in school and I got tasked with my language arts teacher was like, come up with a poem and put these words up on the chalkboard. And instead of a poem, I wrote a rap. But my brother Nat, he's the one that really got me into it, and he plays all kinds of instruments, bass, brass, keys, and he had, I don't know if it was a 4-track or 8-track, but in Louisville, he lived out in Newburgh, and I went to his house, and um, the first song I ever did was called, he sampled "Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again." He sampled that, and he basically replayed it, and that was the first song I ever did. Um, After that,
Sly and the Family Stone.
I think I'd have to Google it, but I remember that was the song, and because he's a little bit older than me, so my two brothers that got me into music are Nat and Walt, and Walt, he's 14, 15 years older than me, and I think Nat is maybe 2 or 3 years older than him, so they're like almost a generation removed. So that was their music, and but yeah, so that was my first song. The Nat helped me craft. Um, After that, Oxbow Mall. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Upstairs, they had like a karaoke place where you can go in and pick a song and sing along with it. Well, that wasn't me. I went in there. I was like, yo, I don't need that song. I had my homeboy, and he beatbox. So that was probably the second song that I recorded. But no, I started off as an MC or a rapper. I can't even call myself an MC because I was really whack. Like really, but really whack.
Why you say that?
Nah, it took me a long time to realize that. I mean, when you first start rapping, it took me many years to figure out delivery. You can put words together, but to really be an MC, it's just like you can listen to a foreign rapper. Like you don't even know what they're saying, but you know if they sound good over the beat. And I was one of them people trying to put all these words and be complicated, and it was overkill. So yeah, I really sucked for like a good 5 or 6 years.
So yeah, man. After you stop rapping, how did you get into producing?
Um, well, okay, so if you're from Kentucky, so you remember a spot off Barstown Road called Doo-Wop Shop where you could rent studio equipment or just any kind of equipment. And I needed, every summer I would go stay with my brother. And as long as I kept my grades up, my mom, she would rent me, some equipment, which was basically a 4-track drum machine, a mic, headphones, and the stomp box. It was like an 8-second sampler. You got all that for $65 a month. And I would go stay with my brother. And he was a DJ, had a whole bunch of records and two Technique 1200s. So I would go down there every summer, not the whole summer, maybe like a month and a half. And my whole goal was to create an album. So I had to learn how to produce. I sucked at it, just like I sucked at rapping. But I learned a lot, and I was having fun, which was the most important part. But that was my introduction into production because back then, that's all you had. Meaning nowadays, kids can get on the internet and just go find a such and such type beat and download it. Um, Back then, you had to know a producer, become a producer, which a lot of times was out of because I couldn't afford that stuff that I was renting from Doo-Wop. I couldn't afford it. It was if you think about it, like $60 a month, even for inflation, I know, but still $60 a month to have everything you need to record. But yeah, it was like you had to know a producer, become a producer, or you're rapping over, a Run DMC instrumental. So that was really my introduction into making beats.
Okay. So then when you left Louisville, you came down here to Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
And how was that life?
Uh, Great, especially coming from a place like Louisville. I came down here September 9th, 1993. I remember the date so well because that's the day that my grandfather passed. But I came down here. I was going to the Art Institute of Atlanta. Waste of money, but just being in Atlanta, and I mean, especially back in the '90s, Atlanta was you know, I loved it, fell in love with it. But yeah, came down here. did 2 years at Art Institute of Atlanta, which again was a waste of money. And I say a waste of money because I didn't learn anything. Um, I mean, we had our books, but there was no hands-on training. Um, I remember like the third quarter I was in there, I was taking copyright law, and the instructor was begging us to leave the school because everything that they were promising wasn't going to happen. And it was what it was. But I just took full advantage of being down here. The degree was focused on audio, but it was also video. So while I was at Art Institute of Atlanta, got an internship at CNN, working in the photo and video services
Okay.
department. That ended up becoming a paid job. A short stint shortly after that. While I was still at Art Institute of Atlanta, uh, I started working up at MC Breed's. He had started his own label, OPM, which stands for One Puff Music. And my brother, the same ones I was telling you about Nat and Walt. Um, Nat, he's a genius. So Nat went to DeVry, and back then he was working himself in at certain labels. So he was going over helping with IT infrastructure. First place he went was So Def. Then he got his foot in over at the Rim Shop, which was Eric Sermon's. And that's how he met Breed. And Breed needed somebody to kind of help with his label. So my brother Nat brought me and my other brother Walt in, and I became the studio manager. And I won't say it was all for nothing because at the end of the day, the label deal that he was trying to pitch didn't work out, and he ended up signing back to Itchy Bond Records. This talking about MC Breed, but no, I was up there. But I guess I was feeling good because I knew, I guess I understood how much networking meant, and so just to know that I kind of had my foot in a situation like that, but in the same breath, I didn't want to put my eggs all in one basket. So right around when I graduated, um, yeah, I focused on video. Started working at a post production house called Video Copy Services, stood for VCS.
Oh, that's dope, there, man. That's how you because when I first came to your studio, I see everything you had of MC Breed of the May he rest in peace, and I'm like, oh man, your name is. You might not think it is a household name. Everybody talks about Mudnoc. Everybody talk about Mudnoc Studio, from Atlanta all the way to Kentucky.
And Korea.
Yeah.
So I heard first heard it.
I I appreciate that. I don't think I'm anybody special. I think done. I've been doing this a long time. So back in the '90s, there was no Mudnoc Studios. It was just Mudnoc trying to be an artist, Mudnoc trying to be a producer, Mudnoc trying to pay bills. Um, and there was ups and downs, but like I said, the '90s were great. Um, I've met a lot of people. If nothing else, to still be doing music. Um, at my age, it's a blessing, but it also comes with it's a lot of headaches. Um, I mean, a lot of studios have gone out of business because you don't need me. You don't need a studio. If you got a laptop and a mic these days with technology, that's why a lot of those studios have went out of business because they had that high overhead. So if you're not a patchwork or some of these studios that got the budgets and certain artists coming to them, it's hard to keep the doors open. Um, I think, I mean, I started out modest and I'm still modest. I don't have no big facility. You saw what I lost. I built a great place over at the Met, and they took that away from me. Um, I was shut down for 2 years, working out of my basement, and I got a wife and kids at the house. I couldn't have any and everybody coming to the house, so I went into a deep depression. Every place I went kept telling me no recording studios. And I get it because, historically, especially in this city, violence and studios have kind of gone hand in hand. So landlords didn't want to deal with it. But every place I went, They told me no recording studios. So I finally lucked up at the spot that you most recently came to, but that's just one room. So I'm just trying to keep my head above water, but in the same breath, I'm blessed to still be able to do music and keep my head above water, if you will. Still trying to figure out my next, the next plan. But
But I feel like, well, they still do need you because here's the thing, man. It's just not about, you have this wonderful studio for folks to come record it. You also an amazing engineer. A lot of, and I ain't talking about recording it. I'm talking about mixing. A lot of folks love how you mix their records. You make them sound super dope. And everybody can't do that.
all right, so and I appreciate all the love I've received. I never really thought I've done anything because I don't consider myself a mixing engineer. I don't consider myself a mastering engineer. I'm more of a jack of all trades, and I guess it's because I was always the person sitting in the seat, whether I was making the music and having to engineer it. Even back to me and my brother with the 4-track, I've always kind of had the technical side in. But whenever I switched over to Pro Tools, and I hated switching over to Pro Tools. This was 2001. I say I hated it because if you could think about back then, that's when I met Native. When he came out, I had a house out in off Westport Road, me and my ex-wife, and had a little studio in the basement. But we had the ADATs and the Mackie board, and somebody kept telling me, you should jump on this Pro Tools. And I guess I didn't want to mix with a mouse.
Yeah.
I liked my board with the faders and my outboard gear. What sold me on Pro Tools was just like this might sound this might go over a lot of people's heads because it's so commonplace now, but instant recall, meaning you got your little Pro Tools session over there. Once you hit save and close and you load it back up, it's just the way you left it.
Yeah.
But back in the day when you had this analog stuff, say I'm mixing a song, but somebody else comes in, they need to record. I got to switch gears.
Yeah, you had the recall sheets where
Yep.
you had this knob in, this here.
Yep.
Oh, you had to write all your settings down.
Yep.
Trust me, I know. So I'm glad you said that. So you said 2001 when you switched gears to Pro Tools.
That's when
It took me 2005. And the crazy thing, Wu kept on saying, "Twin, you gotta get on these Pro Tools." I said, "Man, I ain't mess with them computers.
Mhm.
Twin, you gotta get on Pro Tools." And this was sold me. Me and Wu was with Slaughterhouse. So we up
Okay.
in Frankfurt.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting there and I'm watching Wu on Pro Tools. I said, "Oh, this so easy."
Mhm.
And so that what made me switch to Pro Tools.
Okay. Well, I did. I switched to Pro Tools and I never looked back. I never learned anything else. But as far as just being an engineer, I was still kind of like a semi-artist. Recording stuff here and there. Still making beats. I don't know when I officially just switched because I never. All right, so let me back up. So there was a need for Mudnoc Studios, meaning I needed some money. I was still working this video job, and my ex-wife, I went through a divorce, and I had a mountain of debt. And it's like, am I going to pick up a second job working at UPS? What am I going to do for extra money? And it's like, well, start recording people. So that's what I did. And it wasn't like I was advertising. Everything was just word of mouth. But if my father didn't instill anything, he instilled one important thing was just do the best. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing, do the best at it. And I never thought, because again, Pro Tools at first was a certain learning curve. I didn't know everything that I needed to know. I wasn't reading books. I was, probably like you, just kind of playing around with it, trying to figure it out. But whenever I had a client in there, I just wanted them to leave happy. I think any business, that should be the model. You want the customer to be happy so they'll come back. I also was charging pretty relatively cheap rates. Again, I had a day job, so it was like more of a side hustle. But I wanted to get better because I enjoyed it and or enjoyed making music. So, but that was my goal, just to make people happy. Um, but I've never considered myself a mixing engineer. There's certain sessions I give my all in a session. Like there's certain things I do. This is a story I can tell you. Like I remember MC Breed. All right, so a year before he passed, he had a group down from Michigan, and we're working in my A room, and I'm trying to impress him. Just doing all the tricks, just everything, just to make the record good, but kind of showing off as well. And in the middle of the session, Bree called me outside. And he's like, yo, you gotta stop doing all that stuff, all them breaks and adding stuff. And it's like, man, I thought they loved it. Like, no, they love it. But what you doing, you should be getting paid for it. You should be getting points off this record because you're doing production. You're not just engineering. But the lines of engineering and production have kind of blurred because of the computer. We can do so much. And if I'm in a session and I hear you say something where the beat should drop for emphasis, or you reference something that I can put a sound effect in, why not go ahead and do it? I had this one engineer that I used to rent out my B room to, and I never understood it. Well, I guess I did understand philosophy, but his philosophy was he would almost make the client go home with the worst sounding rough mix. Why? Because he wanted them to come back and pay for that mix. And his mix rate might be $500 a song, where he was just charging maybe $30, $40 to record you. So I understood it, but people knew what he was doing. And it's like, come on, you could at least make it something listenable. And a lot of my clients, they might come in and they might want to take their record to the strip club that night. So I'm just doing whatever I can just to make it sound as good as it can. It also depends on how much time the artist will give me. Sometimes they try and do 4 songs in 2 hours, so I don't have that much time. But if they give me a little time, I can just add some extra sauce to it, and everybody leaves happy. And yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, it starts with making the client happy. And I used to be an artist, so I went to those studios and I saw them engineers. They didn't really care about anything. They were getting paid, but they didn't really have any vested interest in trying to make your music better when they could have. And I think people appreciated that, and maybe that's the reason some people love coming back. But at the end of the day, I appreciate all the love that I've received from my clients and friends over the years.
Because I know you know Chaos. Chaos said he's not gonna let nobody touch his record but you.
Now we talking about I know a Chaos, I know a Chaos. We talking about Senior Chaos or Chaos is the
Troy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Okay.
Chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. Kaoss.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm sorry because I know that's funny when I go to my Pro Tools folder, I have a Chaos and a Chaos and well not yet Chaos. And man, he came. I couldn't, man. These years they all blur together. But I miss working with him. They was him and his brother. They were a dope group.
Yeah, good dude. Shout out to Chaos.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Chaos said, nah, the only person could mix my records is Mud.
No, I appreciate it. Sometimes it puts pressure on me though. Especially if I don't control the recording aspect. I'm not sure if you've ever been in situations like this where people they understand what you do and you can mix and they'll record some stuff and they'll send it to you. But what if it sounds bad? Like I don't like fixing. I'd rather mix than fix.
Yeah.
I had a client last week that came over and he recorded at home. I think he had a baby blue mic but he didn't have any room treatment. And you could kind of hear it. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to tweak it. I'm like, oh, excuse me. And I'm like, it just don't sound good. So I was like, let me just ask you something. If I allow you to record for free, like I didn't charge him. Like just basically, let's re-record these vocals. Because it's gonna be quicker on me if I got the right vocals to go ahead and do my thing, as opposed to sit here for an hour or two trying to EQ and trying to tweak stuff. And I know maybe there's probably plenty of engineers that's out there that's great at that. I'm not great at that. So that's one thing I do hate from a mixing aspect. I like to control the recording. I remember like around 2009, 2010, whenever they cracked Pro Tools, and a lot of my clients started getting laptops and Pro Tools at the crib, um, and I remember this one female, her name was Adrifta Bell. She had went to Guitar Center and bought a little bundle. You know, she had Pro Tools on her laptop, so she started recording at the crib. And she called me like, "Why do my vocals sound like this?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I don't know. Kind of mic do you got?" She didn't know. She's like, "Well, I got a mic, headphones, and a mic stand for $60. Like, well, that's pretty damn cheap." But she was like, "Well, it looks like your mic. Like, it ain't about what a mic looks like. It's about what a mic sounds like." Um, so I've told artists over the years, you know, the mic, that's the front end. You want to get the best sounding mic. Not, I don't want to say sounding mic, but a good quality mic. You don't want to skimp on the main thing that's capturing your voice. And also room treatment is another thing that you have to be worried about. But yeah, that's why I hate advertising myself as a mixer, because I'm not good at fixing. You know, if I can control the recording aspect of it and the vocals already sound good, I can probably do a decent job.
Yeah, yeah. Going behind somebody is painful sometimes. You're like, yeah. And I tell the artists in a minute, I say, you got to record those vocals over.
Yeah.
And then some, because I do work with an artist. She record herself at home, and she'll send me her stuff. Then she'll be like, "What it sound like?" I said, "When you want to come in here and record?" And she'll be here Saturday.
Nah, that's yeah. I mean, like there's plenty of engineers that can probably excel in that area, and I've just I don't know. I've always hated the tedious things that you got to go just to try to get a vocal usable, and even then, I still hear the imperfections. And I'm not trying to make things perfect, but you know what I'm talking about. Like if you can hear a dog barking in the background or the air conditioner, again, like this mic right here is pretty much like the SM7, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the SM7 is a great mic to have because it's just picking up what's right in front of it. It's not picking up the room. But somebody wants to go out here and spend $3,000 on a Neumann and don't spend nothing on room treatment. Well, now we hear exactly what the room sounds like. We can hear noise from the TV. We can hear everything. And then once we as engineers start using our tools, compression and all that stuff, now we're bringing that stuff up, and it's not going to sound good. So yeah, there's been plenty of times when I've just offered to record somebody for free just to get what I need to actually get because at the end of the day, you just want the record to sound good.
Yeah.
So I've lost money, but in the same breath, I'd rather my name be attached to something that sounds good than me just trying to make a buck and spending way too many more hours working with something and it's, half-assed. So
you're looking at it because your name's still on it too, right?
Yeah. Man, there's a current situation. God, I hate saying it. There's a producer named Drugs. Good friend of mine. Grammy nominated. He's done stuff for 50 Cent. He got a placement on Dr. Dre's Compton album. But most recently, he hit me up like 3 or 4 months ago, and he's dealing with this French artist. And French artist spending money. Bought a bunch of beats from Drugs, and Drugs recommended me to do the mixing. Well, they sent me the files, and these vocals sound awful. Like, I mean, it sounds worse. It'd sound better if he recorded it with his phone. Like, it really sounds bad.
Wow.
And I'm like, in those kind of situations, I don't even want my name attached to it, if that makes sense. Because people are going to look mixed by Mudnoc, not realizing that Mudnoc was, like, if you hear the raw files, like, what do I do with this? So, yeah, in those situations, it's kind of like, you don't even want your name attached to something if it's going to sound bad. If it was me that made it sound bad, but like when my old boss told me, you can't polish a turd. So
we done heard that plenty of times in the army.
it was that taking that advice, like If I got a turn, like I can't polish it.
Still a third. What you do with it?
Yep.
That's good because it's reputation, man. I mean, I understand that's your livelihood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a credit guy. I like to look on, see who did what.
Yeah.
You know, see who named. Then now everything visual. Now you want to try to put a face to the name.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I understand.
And that's the thing. Like even when I watch, and I'm not sure if you've been like me. Like you go on YouTube videos, and they'll be telling you how to, mix vocals, but they're already dealing with. Like I want somebody to do like some videos showing how if you got some trash vocals, like show me that. But you'll go on and watch the YouTube videos, and they'll already have the clean, really nice sounding vocals. Like, well, that's the easy part. But in my job, and maybe it comes just with over the years. I mean, again, I'm not one of them guys that's charging a lot of money. So sometimes I get the bottom of the barrel stuff, and people want to skimp. That was one of my big problems when I first opened my B room. Because for most of my life, I just had one room. But at the old spot, when I opened up the B room, I'm trying to fill the room. But people were so cheap. I was only charging $15 an hour. That's without an engineer. But I was only charging $15 an hour without an engineer, and people didn't want to pay for an engineer. They bring their homeboy in or somebody that knows enough to be dangerous on Pro Tools, and they don't know what they're doing. And meanwhile, I'm in the A room working, and they're coming over every 5 and 10 minutes. How you do this, or how you fly the hook, or well, that's what you pay the engineer for. But yeah, you get people like that don't really know what they're doing, and their vocals are clipping or whatever, and then they want you to mix it. It's like, no, you need to re-record it because I can't fix it once it's distorted. But
True. They don't understand that. That's the crazy thing.
Can't cut corners, right?
Yeah.
Now, the first time I seen Pro Tool was at his house.
Mm-hmm.
At your studio in Randallville.
Yeah.
I was like, man. And I remember people talking about it. I was like, ooh, that's pretty penny there, ain't it? And I tried to count pockets, but I was like, that's the new thing. So I was like, yeah. Because, man, when I used to rap with him, he had a little 4-track.
Yeah, I had that boss, DRE.
Yeah. Be like 13 of us in, the closet, go in there with the mic stand and twins your recorders, man.
So when you started, what version of Pro Tools? Well, you said 2005, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we talking about like Pro Tools 7 or 8.
So I started off with 6. No, I started off with 5. I went from 5, 6, 7, 8. I stayed at 8 for a cool minute.
Okay.
And then when it was 2014 when I went to 10.
Okay.
So when I went to 10, I stayed at 10, and then I wish I stayed at 10.
Mm-hmm.
I went to 11.
Okay.
So I stayed at 11 for a cool minute, and then that's when, about time when I moved here, that's when they started doing a subscription.
Oh,
But then I kept on like some it started acting up, and then every time when I got a new computer, that's when I started, it's not compatible because of the operating system. So then that's when I said, man, let me just go and get this subscription. So I did the subscription.
I'm on a subscription. But when you were on Pro Tools 6, you had to have the dongle, so you had to have a digital.
Yeah.
Which one did you have?
I had that
the inbox or
no. So I got the digital one out there.
You still got
I
the 01?
still got it, yeah.
I still got mine in the booth.
No, I still got the 01. I still got my Proteus sound module, my MoFat sound module. I got that the Roland, the Phantom sound module too. I still got all that.
But I was gonna say because he like the whole pretty penny. Like to me, it wasn't a pretty penny. Meaning the 001, I felt like it cost around like $1,200, and this is 2001. I had to get a computer. I couldn't afford a Mac. But I guess before that, if you looked at my old equipment, we had these things called ADATs. And they basically took, it was an ADAT tape, but it's really SVHS. So SVHS tape, and for each ADAT, you could record up to 8 tracks. So I had 3 of them, so I could have 24 tracks. Each of those ADATs cost me around $2,500. So we're talking about $7,500 just for a record medium. I had my Mackie board, 32.8. I forgot, that was probably about 2,000. The cables, the outboard. We're talking about $15,000 to $20,000, and still it was prosumer. It wasn't like it wasn't garbage, but it wasn't studio quality. It was kind of like in the middle. But it was a lot of money spent. So that's why I said nowadays, and even then, I mean, I'm not saying that $1,000 ain't nothing, but it was a lot cheaper than 15 grand. But then that's where I just saw. I want to say, I mean, it's just the future. The computer every year gets more powerful.
Yeah.
So when I was on my first Pro Tools, like the computer could barely keep up. Like if I pulled up a Deverb, oh my computer said, "Oh no, we're not doing that today." Deverb is a reverb plugin, and it was really CPU intensive. So just like now, artists they want to hear the reverb. Like I couldn't do that back then because the computer wasn't fast enough. I spent so many years because I didn't have a Mac at first, and for Pro Tools way back in the day, you had to buy a certain mother chip, a certain things just for it to be compatible. And I went through so many years of hell just rebooting because it kept crashing. And that's when I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy myself a Mac. So the first Mac I bought was a G4, and that was in 2004. And everything worked beautifully. It wasn't no more crashing. But again, the computer wasn't, super fast, but it could handle most tasks. When I first got my Mac Pro, 05, 06, I was in heaven. I'm just like, I felt like, and I guess because I was dealing with all the stuff that the computer couldn't handle before, like the CPU was so much faster that I felt like I could do a lot more. Nowadays, it's an afterthought. I mean, we have these. I have an M2. It's a Mac Mini. I have a lot of people that come down and they look like your studio's running off that little computer. Like yeah, because a lot of people you see running around with just laptops.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to have a tower with a lot of
Yeah.
RAM and.
The first Mac I bought was that G5. But see, I did the research first because I was like, how I'm going to run Pro Tools? And I said, I need a powerful Mac. Because when I was up in Frankfurt with Woo, and I come on, I said, what is that? And he said, oh man, it's a G5.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saved up my little money. I went TDY. When I went to A-Knock. I was eating bologna and cereal, so I saved all my money. So when I came home, I had the money, and I just said, bam, I dropped it off, and that's when I got everything at one time.
Okay.
And then after that, I just, like you said, you see that it's fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I stuck with Mac ever since. And I got the Mac Studio. I got the M1 chip. Yours faster than mine. But I know when it's dealing with the computers, you got the RAM. A lot of folks think, oh, I'm finna just buy a basic computer. You got 8 gigabytes of RAM. It's slow.
Right.
You're going to have to jump. You're going to do 16 to 32 and then that hard drive.
Yeah. So, all my rooms at the old spot. Well, you used to go in the C room, didn't you?
I've been to all 3 of them.
Okay. Well, the A and B room were literally running off of 2012 Mac Mini i7s. I think the C room was running off an iMac with same specs, like a 2011. And nobody had any problems. I mean, that's how. I mean, it's amazing how technology just takes these leaps because 10 years prior, you used to have this huge ass machine with all the bells and whistles. But this little Mac Mini, it was an i7, which was pretty good for that time. But those computers served me up until the studio closed, and that was June of 2021, so 4 years ago. And but when I got my M2, I will say this, it was unethical, but some of them plugins on those computers were cracked. And even when I was running sessions or had to move into my basement, I still had them old computers trying to make it work. Whenever I got the new spot, I knew I had to upgrade. because there was little certain workarounds that I was having to do. The OS, these computers, these 2012 Mac Minis, they were still running. I forgot what, but I couldn't pull up WeTransfer. I couldn't pull up Google Drive. Those are two websites I need, to be able to send files. So whenever I got the new spot, I was like, you got to bite the bullet and upgrade. And I was in a tough situation financially when I got the new spot. One, the owner made me pay a whole year up front. So whatever money I had saved, I had to dump that over to him. So it's like, all right, I got the new spot. Got to give up all my cash to the landlord just to move in. So I had to get a credit card, business credit card, and just kind of charge just to get the stuff I needed. The M2 Mac Mini, lighting, just everything I needed to open up. But the other thing I wasn't used to is paying for these subscriptions. Because before, and like I said, I have had cracks, but all that before I was paying for, you'd buy Pro Tools and you owned it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like every month, you got to pay. And I was used to a certain amount of plugins. So it's like, okay, when you open up, certain engineers, they're used to certain plugins. You got to have auto-tune. You got to have waves. Certain plugins just industry standard that every studio should have.
Yeah.
So these are all subscriptions and extra costs that I had to pay. And it's just the cost of doing business. But because I pay annually, so every June, that's when, I pay my subscriptions. So like, man, you be seeing that $250 here, $500 there, $300 there, and that's just for a year just to open these plugins. But the subscription model, I forgot who. I think Adobe did it first.
It was Microsoft.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, I dislike Microsoft because of that. Because they was the first one. Because you remember back in the days, you could just buy it and you can just tell it. You always had to buy an update. And the update like 2-3 years. So it's like, so you still can use it. But then when when Pro Tools went to it, I said, they doing this Microsoft stuff. And then after Pro Tools did it, then you seen everybody
did it.
Fall suit. They just ducks in a row. And I'm like, they making this hard. And they killing it because they know we need it.
So, well, I'll say this. But yeah, I hate the whole subscription model. But in the same breath, like, say when I open my studio, I remember back in the day, like the Diamond Bundle used to cost like $6,000-$7,000 if you're gonna own it outright. I wouldn't have $6,000-$7,000, so let me pay this whole $30 a month. So at least for the person that don't have it, but it's just after so many years of just paying and paying and paying, it does get old. There are a few boutique plug-in providers that you buy it once and that's it. But Waves, they're very, and understandably, like I understand Waves because Waves is the most pirated plug-in. Like that, everybody had a crack at Waves back in the day. So I get it. Like, hey, Waves want their money from back 20 years ago, so they charging out the ass nowadays. And they're greedy. The other greed is because I had bought a second Mac Mini because M2 because my whole thing was I wanted to be able to take mixes home. But I didn't realize it's only one license, meaning either I'm going to be in the cloud or it's going to be a physical. But if I have another session going on at the studio, I can't run Pro Tools or the Waves plugins at the house so I had to buy a second, and that's what I did the first year. I literally bought 2 subscription to Waves just to be able to have access to my Waves plugins at home.
They let you do 2 licenses now.
Not under the subscription that I was under.
So what I did, I had I bought the gold.
Okay.
So I'm like, because the gold basically got everything, the basic plugins everybody use. So I'm like, everything else is like if I want to go get a CLA or you got the Manly and all those. If I say, okay, let me get a couple of those or the added roll plugins from Waves. But that gold bundle, I just stuck with the gold. And everything else, if like plug-in wise, I got Fab Filter. I got some Hell, I got some what's it, the toy? What's the
Sound Toy?
Sound Toy. I got some of they plugins. But so the plugins, I ain't gonna do the subscription. The only thing I would not, this is what I do. You know how I wait about a year or two, and then I say, okay, let me go and pay this. I got a couple of hundred. Let me go and pay this to upgrade it to where it's at. That's what I do. So
Smart
I'm
man.
like, I'm not finna every month paying them over. The only subscription I got is Pro
Pro
Tools.
Tools.
Even with SSL, with this here,
Mhm.
you just straight when you buy this, it comes with the ones you want. So
Okay.
so it's so don't and then they let you update. They tell you how you need to update it, and it's free.
Okay.
And then but they do have other plugins with it. But I just with the channel strip, the bus compression.
Yes. Yeah.
Them only two I use on there.
Yeah. My main one is just the bus compressor, but they make some excellent plugins. I got Slate. They're in a partnership with SSL, so I got some of them. But it's still the bus compressor. That's my favorite one, or the most used one.
And I did do a subscription with Slate, but then I got start realizing I'm not using the plugins from
Mm.
Slate, so then I got rid of that.
I'm happy with my Slate plugins. I think the frustrating part was whenever I did get the new computer, and because I still got clients to tell you to pull up. Can you pull up that song from 2017? And I pulled it up. I got all kind of missing plugins because I had all the crack plugins back then. Um, so that's so I've slowly had to get certain plugins, um, but again, I can't an EQ is an EQ. I don't need, such and such EQ just for whatever name it is. But there's certain ones that you have to have. But that's the only frustrating part is having to pull up old sessions, and it's almost like starting a mix from scratch, depending on how many plugins are missing. So there's been a few that I've bought over the years because, like, there's a Futz box, this plugin made by DSP. I forgot the name of
Yeah.
the company. But I always use that plugin. It was more like an ad lib plugin that I used to use, and I hated every time I pull it up. I was like, damn, I gotta figure out another plugin for that. But again, at the end of the day, it's the cost of doing business. But yeah, I kind of cringe when somebody asks me, "Can I pull up a song from the old studio?" Because I know it's going to be some compatibility issues plug-in wise.
I recently just learned what a plug-in was. So this last 10 minutes they've been talking, I'm gonna have a Google.
Oh, okay.
Watching the episodes.
Yes.
You said a crack plug-in. What is that, like a bootleg plug-in
Yeah.
or like a stolen?
Yeah, stolen.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's why I said it's
We
very.
ain't stolen that. We just
Yeah.
but
I
protection.
I had done it. In my defense, I wasn't doing like back then. I had a good friend. I wouldn't call him. It's just somebody I knew that they would sell the computers with everything already on them.
Yeah. You
Okay.
know one. I
Okay.
tell you about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
14 classified. All right.
So I
That
bought
makes-
some of those computers, but my main computer in the A room, that was all, the software that I had purchased. But I really didn't think about it at the time when I was buying the computers. I'm just like, hey, it already has the software. But you realize if you need to do an update or anything, like you can't update this because you don't own it. It's literally
See.
cracked. But yeah, it's
Okay.
very unethical, and I'm not for. But yeah, I've used some crack plugins back in the day.
That's all good.
Yeah, I stayed away from them because I seen them. They will crash a computer in a heartbeat.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah. I said, nah. Hey, man, I can get all the plugins. Wait, I said, nah, I'm good.
My thing was always having a stable computer.
Yeah.
I didn't want, and nowadays, and when I'm saying nowadays, I'm really thinking about 10 years ago when with the studios and so many people coming in and out. But you couldn't keep people off the internet. It's like you have to be connected, but you can't stop people from downloading certain things. You try to put little safe guards in place. I had a friend. This is a long time ago, but so I didn't have that many clients. But this literally just killed me. I had a friend. His name was a hustler named Pooh. That's a childhood friend from back in Louisville. He came to stay with me. And I don't know what he did, but he was trying to help me out by downloading some stuff. And I'm at work and I come home. And whatever he did, it basically renamed every file in my computer. Meaning if I had a hard drive of music and it was audio 5.wave. It now said audio S67 dot whatever. So whenever I pulled up a Pro Tool session, everything's missing because it can't find the waves. And I would have to manually go back. So it would take me like 30, 45 minutes to put a session back together. And that's one thing you can't tell your clients. I lost your stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I cussed him out. I hope he watches this because that was a long time ago, but that was a lot of pain and heartache that went into that. But
30 minutes, that's for one session.
that's for one
Man.
simple session, just trying to put it back together. But being responsible for people's data, and that's one thing I don't want to be. Like, I want people to either bring a hard drive or let me send you your session through WeTransfer. Be responsible, download it. I think nowadays, when I was going to the studios back in the 90s, especially when we were signed and we was going to the big boy studios, we had about, one of them 2-inch reel-to-reels. Well, we left with that 2-inch reel-to-reel. That was our master. People in the digital age, they don't put much thought into it. And they'll come and record with you, and that's it. It's like, but no, these are your masters, so you want to have copies of them. Yeah. And God forbid my studio burned down or whatever. I mean, you want to be able to still have access to your stuff. So it amazes me the amount of people that don't care about, saving their or having copies of their sessions.
Yeah, I try to tell them. I say, hey, bring your own hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them, I say, hey, I'm gonna charge you a storage fee on my computer.
Yeah.
Start a subscription.
Yeah, like I say I need my space. So if you don't, and I tell them about 90 days, I'm deleting it.
I don't delete just because hard drives are so cheap these days. But they say anything with moving parts will fail eventually.
Yeah.
So the farthest my hard drives go back is to like 08. So I'm able to pull up anything from the last 16 years. I had at my old spot, I had an old roommate, Underdog. His room was the C room that used to be his room. And he would just fill up. He had no organization. Like when you went on his computer, on like the desktop, it was just folder after folder.
Yeah.
And there was this one time I passed off a client to him, and I don't even think they were recording. They were just tracking out beats or something. But you made maybe 4 or 5 hours worth of pay for tracking out beats or something. And they didn't get a copy of it. So anytime his system disk filled up, he would just randomly delete stuff, not realizing what it is. And he deleted that lady's files, and she came back and to get them, and he had deleted them. And I'm like, oh, you can't do that. But in the same breath, clients, you got to be kind of proactive. Like, make sure you have copies of all your stuff. You can't depend on the studio to keep it, because, like you said, 90 days you're not keeping it. A lot of the websites of these studios, they let you know we're not keeping it. Like, bring a hard drive or we'll retransfer it, but we don't store anything. Or if we are, it's gonna charge.
Man, you should at least send us out with a CD. A DVD or something.
Yeah. I still have almost 8,000, not even exaggerated, like 8,000 DVD-Rs. Like
that's what we had, DVD.
Because back in the day, like hard drives usually were really expensive. So they were like, if you had a 250 gig hard drive, you pretty much $1 a gig. You paying $250 for that. 500, that's $500. So we would back up the DVD-R just to clean off space. It was around 07, 08 when they started getting cheap, and that's what I just started.
I think you got one of them glyphs that look like is about this big hard drive.
I don't.
I had one of them. Well, I still got it. It's back in that storage. That thing wasn't but 80 gigabytes.
Wow.
$500.
But it was supposed to be like studio proof, like it was supposed to be rugged. My client 4 Hours, he still has his. He'll bring every now and then, and he has sessions from 2002, 2003, and it still works. So
and this one, it had a Firewire. I can't even get that thing. I got to hook that old Mac up.
Oh, okay.
To see what's on it.
Because you don't have the ports on the new. Yeah.
4 Hours from DTP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's dope.
But man, Mud, it's a pleasure having you here. I know we could talk all day, especially about this
Yeah,
music.
yeah. No, it's my pleasure.
But it's where can they find you at? Look in that camera right there and let them know where they can find you on social media about you and your studio.
Well, easy for me because my name is Mudnoc, Mudnoc. It's condom spelled backwards phonetically.
I didn't want to say that because I was reading his shirt. I was like,
so you can just so you can Google Mudnoc, but whether you're on Instagram, TikTok, it's Mudnoc Studios. That name's been a gift and a curse because there's been certain people I didn't want to find that didn't want to find me, but there's only one Mudnoc in the world, and but yeah, Mudnoc Studios.
You got a website?
Yeah, mudnocstudios.com.
Yeah, y'all go get y'all a Mudnoc t-shirt, buy some merch, book you some studio time.
Please do.
Most definitely.
no studio. Cool.
He ain't gonna say it, but he's a super dope mixing engineer, whole 9 yards.
World famous.
I appreciate y'all.
But again,
okay, folks, I don't have any more questions. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate y'all for having me.
Tailors Talk Podcast. Okay, folks, what else they need to do?
hey, we'd like y'all to go out there, subscribe, like, and share. And thank y'all for tuning in to the Tailor Talk Podcast.